thing about the history of this? And
I am Al Harrington. This is my home. My whole identity is with Hawaii. And when we speak of the Aloha Spirit, you're speaking of something. Whew, I'm getting a little emotional. We're speaking about something that's very close to my heart. I've been away from Hawaii long enough to know that this is where I belong. You know, certain people are lucky to arrive at that juncture in their life when they begin to say, I belong in Hawaii, or I belong in Texas, or I belong in Michigan, or, you know, my dad, who adopted me, came from Iron Mountain, Michigan. And the thought of going back to Iron Mountain, Michigan, upset him terribly. I used to say to him, come on, Dad, I'll take you back to Michigan. And he says, nope. He says, I'm not going to go there, and then something happens to me, and you guys leave me there. You know. And so he never went back. His people came to visit him here, but he would never go there. So he was one of those that was able to say, I know where I belong.
No. That's special.
That's very special.
Many people don't have that grounding.
Right.
And it's from the grounding that you have that special energy.
Right.
To really, as we have to now talk about with everybody.
And
what
this
can
is,
you do to make the Aloha work?
This is what the children are doing.
Right.
In this whole program. They're saying, we love Hawaii. We know what the Aloha Spirit is. And we want to identify it.
Right.
As best we can, because there are some facets of Aloha, Aina, and Aloha that you I mean, it's poetic. You know, it's poetic to the extent that you feel it, and you don't exactly identify it.
Yeah.
You feel it, though.
Well, and we did talk about words as being a barrier, but if you can identify a feeling, a word is an expander.
Right.
So getting them to be able to not only feel the feeling, but talk about the feeling with others. Right.
Then you become poetic in your expression.
Yeah.
Then you become
and passionate.
and you begin to write these beautiful poems that people have written about Hawaii, and then we hopefully get more of the natives. You know, these young children that are expressing the need for this thing that we're doing now, and they will become poets. And as they become poets, then we perpetuate the Aloha Spirit.
So, in a part, we're asking you as you go
the
around.
purpose of the Aloha 2009 Talk Story drive that we're putting together is for the AHA organization, which is paying attention to art and culture and creativity and what helps make those things go. That the young people wanted they started this off with their own tapes. This is that first tape that's on the website is their creation. And so the idea is for them, they're basically saying to the public, join me. Mm-hmm. Say what you have to say, add to this, help me, let me know what you know, and you have history. You've been spoken of by many people, Al, as the person who exudes and embodies the Aloha Spirit for probably thousands of people, many thousands who have come to Hawaii.
It's not inclusive of Hawaii. I mean,
it's not just Hawaii.
It's not just Hawaii. The Aloha Spirit is a spirit that existed with the agricultural communities when people began to plant their crops rather than nomadically chasing animals. You know, and then they began to plant their berries and so on and so forth, and then they began to create their fairs. And as they created their fairs, they became more responsible to each other and for each other. And so that's what this Aloha Spirit is about. But what happens is we begin to move out of that as we become, as Adam Smith, the great writer of The Wealth of Nations,
I love that book,
comes in and he says it's supply and demand. You know, it doesn't matter what the supply is the demand is there, we give. And when that supply is gone, we'll go find it someplace else, or we're going to change the needs of the people that demand it, so that they go and want something else rather than what we're presenting them. And that's the concept that has brought us into this situation that we have today. You know, where there is no regulation of demand, no regulation of supply, and as a result, the rich take advantage.
What is the difference between Hawaii used to be? The Aloha Spirit here in Hawaii that you knew, because you were a performer in Waikiki for many years.
Well, I grew up in Halawa housing, you know, where it was very grassroots people. You know, the immigrants were coming, and then of course the Hawaiians that were not able to get kind of what you call homestead land.
Yeah.
This is where they lived. They lived in Halawa housing with us, or Papakolea, or so, you know. So the difference between today is, you know, it's just like the difference could have been in Wisconsin. You know, where in our particular area of Halawa housing, if you no more sugar, you go next door. You say, hey, I need a bowl of sugar because we're going to make cereal and we no more enough sugar. So you take a cup of sugar from them, and then when you get sugar, you go back and say, this is a cup of sugar, you know. Or you don't even give them back. You just, because there's going to be a time when they want some sugar, and they go, or taro or whatever. And
you don't give back, they're not going to give you next time.
Yeah, or you know, the Hawaiian style, and we learned this from. Well, I think the Hawaiian style is that if they get a bowl of sugar, when you return the bowl, you got to have something inside that bowl. You know, that's the Aloha Spirit. You know.
What do you mean something inside that bowl?
You gotta have.
You don't return an empty bowl.
You don't return an empty bowl. You can return it back with some sugar, or you return it back with some cherries, or you return it back with something comparable to what you took. You know. So that. Meaning unity to be expressed with harmony, meaning the real world to be expressed with blessedness.
What made you smile?
Well, the poetry of it, you know, the poeticness of the law of aloha. You know, these words like aloha meaning kindness to express with tenderness. Huh? Yes. It's like, you know, it's like. I was holding my nephew yesterday, who was 1 month old, you know, and this is a beautiful child, and this is the idea that came to my mind when I was holding him. You know, we can hopefully he will grow up with the spirit of kindness that is expressed with tenderness with him. Lokahi meaning unity to be expressed with harmony. The idea of lokahi and harmony working. Meaning unity to be expressed with harmony, and that's exactly what you get that feeling when you look at how it was formed. Because, you know, you got the vegetables from the mountains, you got what's called the ocean and the protein and the fish, and then what's called the fish traps and
fish
ponds that were all of this. All has to come, and it has to be done harmoniously. You know, it falls apart because, you know, we nobody can say, well, this is mine, so I'm going to take 50% is mine. You know, or
when they do that, they might find themselves out of the
ahupua. See, so this is the thing about the law of aloha, which was instigated in our history when we became a state.
Yes.
Now, the idea goes even further back to the Kamehamehas. When one of the Kamehamehas, I'm not sure which one, I used to think it was the first, but now I found out I'm mistaken. It was either the third or the first, one of them. And he established then the code of Hawaii, which is Wamau Ke'eo Kaine Kapono. Hawaii, the land of Hawaii, is perpetuated in righteousness, and this is what aloha is right here.
Yeah.
When you read this law of aloha, it's just basically defining spelling it out in the Hawaiian code. You know, flow. It's poetic. So so this is the thing that we're saying, that the land and the Aina, the land, all of us living together, the more righteous we do it, the longer we last, and the land lasts. We give life to the land in righteousness, and this is what the law of Aloha is saying. It's saying, pay attention to each other. As they become poets, then we perpetuate the Aloha Spirit.
So, in a part, we're asking you as you go around to tell people that there is this movement growing, and ask them to join us.
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, this is the kind of thing that is necessary if we're going to change the economy. If we move to a new economy, it's going to take this kind of passion. Yes. You know.
Can you explain how that fits together? I think this is it's tricky because some people say that.
Right. Well, it's the old economy which has brought us into this this kind of situation that we're in. It was based on supply and demand. It's the old wealth of nations thing that Adam Smith and them people wrote about, you know, and that concept was basically emphasizing supply. They didn't. Demand. They didn't care about supply because they saw supply all over the place. And so as a result, they said, well, we'll use up this supply, and then when we power, we use up another supply. And then we'll go find it someplace else. You know? That's what they said about oil. That's just, there's so much oil, we don't even worry. We don't need, I'm talking pigeon now.
That's good.
That's beautiful,
I'm falling into my roots.
You're coming home, coming home to your language.
And so those guys are digging oil all over the place. Even when it destroyed the earth, they didn't care because it was oil. It was going to make them wealthy.
Yep.
Okay, but the concept of Aloha is aware of supply. It's aware of how much we got.
Right.
Do we have some more for tomorrow? That's why they developed the ahupua'a. The division of the land where you go from it's a diamond shape, pie shape from the top of the mountain to the ocean. And then in this ahupua'a, you can maintain the balance for your family and for your tribe or for your kind ohana.
Explain more. I don't understand.
See, that was a division of land back before the Haole people came, the white people came. And I should mention that we use the word Haole, but it don't mean white, Haole means visitor, people that...
Yeah, but visitors are supposed to go away.
Right. But the Haole people, the visitors kept coming and coming, so the name became Caucasian for all the white people, because those are the people who kept coming. You're gonna get me all excited.
They've asked us
I hope you guys gonna be able to edit this so it comes out.
As long as we take a break every once in a while, they're in between,
So the division of land back in the days before the Western man comes to Hawaii and Kamehameha and beyond was the division in the ahupua'a. That from the top of the mountain.
That's a natural. The island's built with those divisions naturally.
There you go.
As you go from the top of Kaimuki and down and out.
And down and out to the ocean.
Yeah.
Okay. So that you get your vegetables from the mountain, and then you get your seafood and protein from the kind of the ocean. So that's with that in itself, you perpetuate the Aloha Spirit.
And with the
How?
Spirit,
I don't understand. How does that perpetuate the Aloha Spirit?
With the Aloha Spirit at that time, they built the fish pond.
Yeah.
So they always had enough food. There was never
They paid
a lack
attention
of
to
enough.
supply then.
They paid attention to supply. So when somebody go fishing, the fishermen go fishing, he come back with the fish, and he go and share with the people and growing the vegetables in the mountain. So we get this aloha between each other. The guy in the mountain, he plant his taro. When he harvests the taro, he bring them down to the fishermen. So you get this kind of awareness of each other, and that's a really important word in the Aloha Spirit, is to be aware of each other.